start. Last time it didn't start. Today is a new day to start again. Take each moment one by one and do the best you can. Yesterday doesn't matter, it only serves as a ladder. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed, so make your plans accordingly. Today is a new day to start again. Take each moment one by one and do the best you can. Grand Rising, today is a new day to start again. It is 1/12/2025. I started about a minute early. Not sure that really makes any difference. For some reason, I do not get service on my laptop, and I don't know what's going on. And I really just don't know how to fix it. So I guess we will start with today. We are going to be talking about my subject is pituitary gland and the third eye. And we will get into my notes here in a minute. I did get pretty deep. I went 16 pages. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to randomly pick a Bible verse first. And then I will, I forgot to ring the bell, I think. We'll do this one too. So what I'm going to do is pick a random Bible verse and read it. And then later I will come back and do an analysis of it. But this is a random Bible verse for the day. Leviticus 27.24. I think we will just read votive offerings. Why don't we read it to the end? 27 all the way to the end. So we're going to read 27, 24, and 27, 25. Let's see if I can do it without stumbling too much. Votive offerings 27. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the people of Israel and say to them, when a person makes an explicit vow to the Lord concerning the equivalent for a human being, the equivalent for the male shall be from 20 to 60 years of age. The equivalent shall be 50 shekels of silver by the sanctuary shekel. If the person is a female, the equivalent is 30 shekels. If the age is from 5 to 25 years of age, the equivalent is 25 shekels for a male and 10 shekels for a female. If the age is from 1 month to 5 years, the equivalent for a male is 5 shekels of silver, and for a female, the equivalent is 3 shekels of silver. I am so regretting saying that I'm going to read all of this. Okay, and if the person is 60 years old or over, then the equivalent for a male is 15 shekels, and for a female, 10 shekels. If anyone cannot afford the equivalent, they shall be brought before the priest, and the priest shall access them. The priest shall, the priest shall assess them. Probably access them too. Oops. The priest shall assess them. I should not do that. I'm sorry. According to what each one making a vow can afford. That was a lot. I don't know. I'm going to go on, I guess. If it concerns an animal that may be brought as an offering to the Lord, any such that may be given to the Lord shall be holy. Another shall not be exchanged or substituted for it, neither good for bad or bad for good. And if one animal is substituted for another, both that one and its substitute shall be holy. If it concerns any unclean animal that may not be brought as an offering to the Lord, the animal shall be presented before the priest. The priest shall assess it, whether good or bad, according to the assessment of the priest. So it shall be. But if it is to be redeemed, 1/5 must be added to the assessment. You need like a slide rule. If a person consecrates a house to the Lord, the priest shall assess it, whether good or bad, as the priest assesses it, so it shall stand. And if the one who consecrates the house wishes to redeem it, 1/5 1/5 shall be added to its assessed value, and it shall revert to the original owner. I feel like Andy Kaufman again. If a person consecrates to the Lord any inherited landholding, its assessment shall be in accordance with its seed requirements. 50 shekels of silver to a homer of barley seed. I'm going to try to get more energetic with it. If the person consecrates the field as the year of Jubilee, it's a good word to say, Jubilee, that assessment shall stand. But if the field is consecrated after the Jubilee, the priest shall compute the price for it according to the years that remain until the year of Jubilee, and the assessment shall be reduced. And if the one who consecrates the field wishes to redeem it, then 1/5 shall be added to its assessed value, and it shall revert to the original owner. But if the field is not redeemed, or if it has been sold to someone else, it shall no longer be redeemable. But when the field is released to in the Jubilee, I'm getting a little cocky. In the Jubilee, it shall be holy to the Lord as a devoted field. It becomes the priest's holding. If someone consecrates to the Lord a field that has been purchased, which is not part of inherited land holding, the priest shall compute for it the proportionate assessment up to the year of Jubilee, and the assessment shall be paid as of that day, a sacred donation to the Lord. In the year of Jubilee, the field shall return to the one whom it was bought, whose holding the land is, as assessments shall be by the sanctuary shekel. 20 gerahs shall make a shekel. What's a gerah? A firstling of animals, however, which as a firstling belongs to the Lord, cannot be consecrated by anyone, whether ox or sheep, it is the Lord's. If it is an unclean animal, it shall be ransomed at its assessment, with 1/5 added. If it is not redeemed, it shall be sold at its assessment. How many people are still with me? Nothing that a person owns that has been devoted to destruction for the Lord, be it human or animal or inherited land holding, may be sold or redeemed. Every devoted thing is most holy to the Lord. No human beings who have been devoted to destruction can be ransomed. They shall be put to death. All tithes from the land, whether the seed from the ground or the fruit from the tree, are the Lord's. They are holy to the Lord. If persons wish to redeem any of their tithes, they must add 1/5 to them. All tithes of herd and flock, every 1/10, one that passes under the shepherd's staff, shall be holy to the Lord. Let no one inquire whether it is good or bad, or make substitution for it. If one makes substitution for it, then both it and the substitute shall be holy and cannot be redeemed. There are the commandments that the Lord gave to Moses for the people of Israel on Mount Sinai. I think I said that right. Wow. Well, did anybody say anything? I can't see, I don't think, chat. How do I do that? Well, this is kind of a disaster because I don't know why I can't get on my computer. It's just one of those things where I was getting everything ready and I jumped on and it says no, and I don't know why. But whatever. I do have internet, but I don't have it through my. So that is the Bible verse. What I want to do now is just see if I can get on my phone here and see chat. So that is the Bible verse. Hello. Can I see? All right, cool. At least I can see and talk if anybody wants to talk. All right. So that is Leviticus. Leviticus. I'm gonna have to look into that and do my analysis. So it's Leviticus 26:19, 27:25. No, that's way wrong. 27:24 to 27:25. There we go. Votive offerings. Interesting. All right, so we are doing pituitary gland and third eye, and kind of the reference of that together. I've got, like I said, 16 pages of this. I go all over the place, so we'll just kind of dive into it. I don't know if I've activated my third eye. I'm not fully invested. I'm not all in on this. I have looked into it a lot, and there is a thing in our brain that is ancient symbolism, myth, art, stories. It all points to this idea of the third eye, and many of the imageries that you look have very it's synchronistic, if anything else. If you pin me down right now, I think our bodies originally had maybe one eye. I think that's possible. That, like, I don't think it was the same as what we are. I think maybe the idea of what a human body is, where it comes from, because we were made in. Hey, there's some foreign language. So I don't know how to read that. It'd be cool if I could see translation. Or can I read that? The cool looks like cool. If I'm cool, I'm cool. I like it. Anyways, there is a thing in our brain, basically. So if you pin me down, at one point it looked like it was something, and it still is. I think it may have functioned more before, but it looks like it is very important. Hi, Bodie. I have a cat named Bodie, and Bodie hangs out with me. Bodie might be teaching me about my third eye. Well, I don't know. It just all kind of coincides. But when I started to really concentrate on taking fluoride out of my diet and really making efforts to try to clean, I use charcoal and stuff. I just really am a layman, but I try to do things. And I don't know about anybody else, but my entire worldview flattened during the 2020 bizarro year of all of that. And that all kind of coincided with me also looking into taking fluoride out of my diet. And there's a lot of different things that happen at once. I keep doing that. It honestly seems sometimes like lore when I look back on 2020. It almost seems like it wasn't even something that happened. And when you talk about it in public, it does feel like you quietly speak about the masks. Shh, he's still wearing one over there. You'll say stuff like that. Trump, you want to ruin any party? Just rev up the engine. You want to spin out a laughing clown? Say Trump. Yell it. Whisper. Trump. This is our time. I love that speech from Goonies. This is our time. Down here, it's our time. Up there, it's their time. We signed up for this, I think. Um, so I put a little circle here. I think it's to get me to get here first. The key is to use logic to sift through. So I'm going back to this pituitary gland. This is where I started. This is the subject of matter that we're in. It's really hard to stay focused on it. And the third eye. I have something written here where it says optical. So our eyes see optics. The third eye uses optics, but it's not visual. So it's glandular. It's through the oils, I think. Um, it's through reproduction too. So I'm trying to go slow. You have to when you start to do what I do when I start to dissect something with my fresh eyes. I just basically Google. So I Googled whatever is it, pituitary gland is what I think I Googled first. Oh, I think I just Googled pituitary first. I find it funny that it's descriptive whenever you Google pituitary gland is pea size. That's the first thing. That is what I Googled first was pituitary gland because that's my subject. Pituitary gland. I didn't want to be coy about it, and it says pea size. That's how it describes it. It's so funny. Like the first thing that you look up is. It is kind of pea size. It does look a little bit like a pea. I mean, and it's called pituitary. So I looked at the original etymology of pea because that's what I do, and it sounds like it comes from Greek, but then was molded into Latin, a word pism, but it came from pison, or I don't know how to say it. But then all of it kind of turns into original English, whatever that means. But it's peas, and it was peas, and then speakers instead. There's a difference between speakers and writers, especially at this time when language is changing, and you have conquerors that are coming in, and you're changing the entire language and the culture after you cultured and everybody's got to be friends again now after everybody's killed their dads and their brothers and their everybody that was any good and left all the women that were left. I mean, it was horrible on some of these situations. I don't want to get dark, but that's what the anyways, that's what's left to us as far as the narrative. They call it back formation though, is what it is when the words that are written that are people are supposed to be saying have an S, but the speakers just stop saying the S. And then you see this bring back of the French where they add S for plural. So it's forced into the lexicon, I guess. Are we talking about the pineal gland? Isn't that my subject? I got into peas. So basically, what I was trying to say is this is the merging of conquering, literally slaughtering the strongest men, raping the strongest women, and enslaving the bastards. it's is kind of the template. I don't want to get that's generalization, but writing the history, that's who does it though, is the people that did this. The idea that we need to understand history to avoid repeating it is folly because it's a trap. We follow history to our grave. The somehow I brought this back to the pit, the grave, the pit, the pituitary glands. That's not true. It's pea-sized. It's below the hypothalamus, which is a whole other thing. And I was going to go down the hypothalamus, but we would have got into 170 pages. We're on 16. So it's a gland, the pituitary. It looks like a pea. It's a gland. It's in the middle of your like brain, kind of. It's in like the most sacred place, really, of your body. Um, it's an organ. That's what you do whenever you look up pituitary gland. It's an organ. Hold on. What's an organ? I know everybody thinks they know what an organ is, but let's just back it up for a second. What's an organ? I looked it up. It's a body part or a musical instrument. That's what an organ is. I like that. I like the synchronicity. Sim, sim, symphonicity is what I wrote. Symphonicity? That's not a word. Synthesizes. Suffering succotash. An organ is a group. I looked up what an organ is because I want to know what an organ is. And you know what the organ is? It's a group. Let it slide, David. What's a group? I don't want to talk about what a group is. But the definition of organ is a group that works together. It works together. It's a group that works together to perform what does we're not going to get into it. Specific. It performs a specific function. It's getting better in an organism. I'm going to read it again. An organ is a group that work together to perform a specific function in an organism. That's what the definition of an organ is. I want to take a moment of silence. What is an organism? We're going to look up the definition. A living thing that has many parts that work. There's that work word, together to perform life functions. That's what an organism is. So the pineal gland is a pea-sized organ that does stuff in an organized way that helps the organism, which is that the brain or is that the endo we're going to get into it, endocrine system, I think is what it's called. So is the pituitary gland part of the body? Are the brain and the body the same? Organs and bones, air and water flow through our organs. We are the organism. I never liked isms. Pituitary gland. Let's get back to pituitary gland. Secretes. That's what happens. The gland secretes. Do you know what definition of secretes is? Secret. Shh. It's a deposit or conceal in a hiding place. Holy fuck. It's so weird just whenever you start looking at all of the. It's a biological secret. To form or release a substance in the body, a cell secretes substances such as sweat that cools the body. It gives you a visual, something that we can all relate to. Sweat that cools the body as you get hot. That's the function of the endocrine system. So, what it says it does is then it goes into hormones that act. So I don't know what hormones are. I do, but what they say it is. But when you look at it, it's really the hormones, and I got in quotations, that act, they act in other parts of the body. Who are hormones? They're chemical messengers, is what they are. They're chemical. That's what hormones are. Produced by glands. They're secretions, actually. They're effects of when something else comes in. It's processing, regulate, sil- regulate physio- physiological processes. It's weird how physiological has no H. It's still says, is it physiological or did I just misspell it? Hmm. And behavior. Serious question to the viewer. Are you aware that you are the mind of an organism that is you? Is right now in charge of all of these functions. Like all of these functions are happening in your body unbeknownst to you who's listening to me. It's all simultaneously happening right now. You are doing all of this pituitary gland stuff, because you're like the organizer of the, or you are the effect, I guess, of the organism. So don't screw it up. You're magical. All right. All right. So then I was like, I need to really understand what this endocrine system is. I remember being taught about it several different times. So I'm like, I needed to go through an overview. You got your pancreas. That's a very important one. You got your thyroid. You got your adrenal glands. Honestly, I really didn't know that the ovaries and the testicles were glands. So they are really part of the same endocrine system, I think. Are they all one organ? Is the endocrine system one organ? And is that organ part of the other organs? Are they one organ altogether? And is that, I don't really understand, because I don't understand what an organ is, because it's something that's organizing into an organism. Are the glands the organ? The endocrine system is an organ. Okay, so I got all that. Are we an organism? Like, is society one organism? Like, are we just part of that? I can't read any of what this is saying. I got hello, well, and then I got goodbye. But goodbye is spelled with B-U-Y, and I think that's humorous because I'm free. You don't have to buy anything. All right. Is it fair to say that the endocrine system is a processor of the oils? I think that might be it, but I don't know. Through my research here, which is generally just me as a layman, that's kind of what I got out of it, is that the glands process oils, and it's a secret, and it's hidden and somewhat hidden in the pituitary gland and the pineal gland. Snake oil salesman. Do oils come from poisonous snakes? Venom, poison. That girl is poison. Belle DeVoe. So the pituitary gland is pea-sized organ, part of the endocrine system that processes oils into hormones that fluctuate human behavior, as well as secretions of hormones through the blood and the veins to the organs. Too many hormones, too little hormones. Can I say whore? What do whores do? They moan. Hormone. There's some sexual stuff to the oils of. What do you think? Because sex and endocrine, the means of whores. What are whores bad if they're just having sex out there? I mean, they're chemical messengers, and that's when the whores come in from that. I forget what movie. Any substance. Oh, what was I looking up? What's chemical messengers? What's chemical? I looked up the definition of chemical because now I'm like, what's chemical? Any substance with defined composition. Fucking A. Can we never just get a straight answer? I don't even know what that means. It's programming, I guess. Chemicals are programming. They're biological. Is it biological? I mean, the effects are biological, I think. Secrete interface. They Let's get into calcification of the pituitary gland, because that seems to be like one of the things. I don't know. I've never seen anybody really dispute it. That apparently, if you take on too much fluoride, the fluoride goes to your pituitary gland, not your pituitary, your pineal gland. I keep getting the two confused. They probably are basically whatever. I forgot to even look into the pituitary gland actually, but the pineal gland, even the name, it's just so crazy. Did I start looking into pituitary gland to start this thing off? I don't know. I've never even seen anyone dispute the whole pineal gland. So I'm gonna go with that it is oil based. Then I looked into, like, so there's fresh water, oil, mercury, and blood. And I was trying to understand. And then I did trying to understand the secretion of the DMT, which is connected to birth, which is connected to dreaming and near death. This is all not new, but the way science is kind of going right now. And then I came back to the whole pea-sized. I don't really get into the drugs. I know a lot of people I resonate with. like some of the same things that I talk about with the third eye ideas and this higher level consciousness, which really gives us our morality, in my opinion, or at least follow, it teaches us which way we're supposed to go within the matrix, really. But so if you're going to go to the psychedelics, it really lines more up with simulation theory type of stuff, where I'm more organic because there's definitely organisms, organisms. So it's just not really my thing, and I don't like being out of control. So I've never liked any drugs that take me out of where I want to feel like I have some kind of my feet on the ground. I like my feet to be on the ground, like at least where I'm at. I'm sure I go off when you go into dreamland. I mean, your feet aren't on the ground. Third eye. Let's get into the esoteric stuff. We're getting close to the end of my stuff. I want to start with Cyclops. I shouldn't have because it really didn't really lead me to the third eye because I thought there might have been a connection there. But I did enjoy learning a little bit about Cyclopses. And so they're the first children of Uranus was kind of where Cyclopses came from. And I didn't realize it that they were the brothers of the, and I can't say it, Hecatorocrates, Hecatoncrates. I don't know how to say it. The Hundred Hands guys, and they're both kind of strange, but I think relevant. And they're from Tartarus. They were essential in us having what we have now, if any of the legendary stuff is true, because they had to be used to be able to have what we have from Zeus. It is what it is. It's where we are. They're part of it for sure. Um, I think, but I don't even know what it is actually. So I caught myself, and then I went back to third eye because I was like, I'm going down the wrong road here. There's not really a connection between Cyclops and the third eye that I could see. I thought maybe we like came from that, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's a whole different like idea. So then I looked up what third eye is. It's an imaginary eye in the middle of the forehead that is said to provide mystical insight and intuition. I thought it was interesting because this is what you say when you first type it in, and it's using language that so the third eye is an imaginary eye in the middle of your forehead that is said. It's said to be. So this is what people say to provide. It's said to provide mystical insight and intuition. So obviously it's very important because it's said to be. But then I went to this thing where I was interested because it says it's an imaginary. And I was like, well, what does imaginary mean? I just wanted to do one sample of it. And so the first thing you look up when you say imaginary is it's hard to define. So the first thing it says is existing only in imagination. That's the definition of imaginary. It's existing only in imagination. And you know what the second is? Mathematics. Imagination, imaginary is mathematics. I'd like to take a moment of silence. That was fun for me. Okay, let's look back at all the symbolism. There is put because you can make light from oils. Something's going on with light and oils. Choice, it might be found in the pineal gland, or at least the effect of our ability to have a higher awareness of what our choices are in each moment. Unhindered, unfiltered, clean, our temple is our body. If you're able to like completely clean it, I think is what people try to do. I'm babbling, bibbling and babbling. 15 pages of nonsense is probably enough. We're at 35 minutes, and I have a life ahead of me that I'm not exactly sure about. So I want to try to prepare for that. I did want to do this again. I was a little uneasy about continuing to do these videos. So my third eye and my cat Bodhi are telling me that's enough. My Bodhi came up to me while I was writing that last line, and I was sitting there, and she was taking her hand, and she was like, it was really cool. And she grabbed onto my hand, and I was like, okay, I think we're done. I've done enough with this. I don't think we've made any heads or tails of any of these videos that I've done so far. So maybe I'll come back and do like a part two of each one and try to pick up some of the pieces that I've left. I was worried about doing this today. I worry my videos are hurting my life again. I felt like my videos hurt my life at one time, and I'm a little worried they might be hurting it again just for me doing it. But I genuinely feel like this is something that I want to do. I feel called. I feel like it's the most important thing for me to do. So that's why I keep doing it. I don't know. And the more it hurts, the more I feel like it's something I'm supposed to do. So I really don't know what I want other than to sing my song and live my life according to the song I sing. Today is a new day to start again. Take each moment one by one and do the best you can. Yesterday doesn't matter, it only serves as a ladder. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed, so make your plans accordingly. Today is a new day to start again. Take each moment one by one and do the best you can. And something about shekels. It said shekels. If you start the beginning of this video, I talk about shekels for a minute, and I don't even really know what a shekel is. I think it's a coin, I guess. The Tao is great. Do great. Be great. Be grateful. So I'm not going to end this, but I don't know. I've got some people. One person's on here. I don't really know how to do much other than to say hi. If you got any questions that I could see in English, um, I could talk to myself. Hey, David. Hi, New Day. How are you? I'm pretty good. Well, I guess that's the end of it. I keep trying to do these videos. I think they're working the way I like them. I'm getting decent views. I did lose some viewership. I obviously am saying the wrong thing, probably too personal with my life, and that's probably one of the dangers I have with doing this. But like I said, I feel like this is what I'm called to do, and so I'm going to do it moving forward to the best of my abilities and sing my song to the best of my abilities. And I hope it helps someone somewhere because it's helping me and Bodhi. Have a great day. Do good. Do great. Be great. Be grateful.